What's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
This is the spoiler chat for episode 1 of Loki. We get Nerdy Nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Welcome back to the channel for another spoiler chat, this time for Loki, a new Disney Plus Marvel Cinematic Universe show starring Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
He's just like,
of all
wow.
People.
He didn't
great.
say wow in the whole episode. I was very disappointed.
So disappointed.
Loki tells the story of 2012 Loki from the scene in Avengers Endgame. Spoilers for like the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. You have to kind of watch the movies to watch the show, I feel like. Because I feel like they're going to keep jumping into past moments.
Yeah. Otherwise, you would have no idea what was going on.
And this movie, or this first episode, spoils a lot of the movies in regards to the Asgardians. But Loki, from 2012, grabs the Tesseract in a moment in the time heist from Endgame, and he escapes, and the Time Variance Agency catches up with him immediately.
Yep.
And he goes on trial. And that's kind of the thrust of this episode is, what are we going to do with this variant Loki?
Yeah. Yeah. So Loki was the show that I was the most excited for when it was all announced.
Yep. Probably the character I have the most interest in, just because of Tom Hiddleston's portrayal, and
yes,
he has real depth.
But compared to WandaVision and Falcon the Winter Soldier, this is my least favorite first episode, for sure.
I would agree with that.
And I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but like I did not find myself enjoying it all that much when we watched it last night. And I it makes me sad because I love Loki. I love the character. I love all the like build up to this made it seem like it was going to be a really interesting story, but they've introduced a lot of things into the show that you and I both have problems with, that we don't like. Not
problems within that they don't make sense, but problems within that, like, I watch a lot of science fiction stuff. Like, I love sci-fi. I love this kind of content. Sorry, there is construction noise. Our backyard is getting redone. Not like our backyard, but like the man who owns the house that we rent. The roof. Never mind. You get it. There's construction outside. That's all you need to know. There are tropes I don't love in science fiction. And one of them is, like, omnipresence. I don't love when you set up a world with characters who know everything. Yeah. I think that it's boring.
Yeah.
And this episode falls into, in my opinion, the worst trappings of, like, omnipresent storytelling.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about anyone in the show except Loki, because everyone else isn't real. They are all so... Like, Owen Wilson's character, as fun as Owen Wilson is in the show, Mobius doesn't exist in a functional way within the world of the Avengers. Yeah. And so I don't really care about him, because, like...
But also,
who is he? What is he?
Yeah, what is he? What does he
knows
as?
Everything, but there's also someone who can, like, get around that. They're all powerful, but they're not. My problem with it is that it tells a story of, well, the Avengers were supposed to win in that way, and so if they weren't going to, we would have stepped in and made sure that they did, right? And to me, that just makes this... I'm like, well,
it kind of discredits everything that you have done and set up so far. And that's a big trapping of this whole, first of all, like, time travel stuff, but also, like, there is one designated timeline, like, there's fate, and, like, whatever you do, you can't step outside that, and then if you do, by accident, because you don't know that it exists, you get put on trial or, like, killed.
Well, and this is kind of, and this is kind of why I don't like omnipresent writing, because no writer can actually account for everything.
Yeah.
And so, at the very beginning of this episode, Loki gets arrested for breaking the law, and
that he doesn't know exists,
and he gets taken to trial, and they're like, well, you weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And Loki goes, what? Why?
Yeah.
Like, no one, like, he didn't... Okay, if the timeline is sacred, and there is a way that it is supposed to happen, then how did Loki accidentally break
it? Yeah.
Like, who actually broke the timeline? Because it clearly wasn't Loki. It was whoever knocked the Infinity Stone out of the way. But it, based on, like, if you watch Avengers Endgame, it seems like everything goes the way the timeline wants it to, because they still have to go get the other Tesseract from earlier in the timeline.
Yeah.
And so it just becomes a kind of confusing storyline of time travel.
And the other time travel that happens is supposed to happen. The one thing that's not supposed to happen is just that he picks up the Tesseract. And I'm like, that makes no sense. In what world would Loki see the Tesseract and not pick it up?
Well, but also, if Loki doesn't pick up the Tesseract and disappear with it in that moment, then there is no need for them to go back again to get the other Tesseract from earlier in the timeline.
Which means that would also break the timeline.
Meaning that was a variant because they were supposed to get the first Tesseract, or they weren't supposed to get the first Tesseract, but Loki also wasn't, so someone else was supposed to pick it up.
Yeah.
But like, then who was supposed to pick it up? Like, and this is where you can't tell me that Mobius knows everything if he can't immediately explain that. And they don't. They just kind of leave it hanging. They're like, don't worry about it. Tom Hiddleston's performance is amazing, and it is.
It is.
But like, what is actually being said in this episode doesn't work.
Yeah.
In terms of holding the logic of what we've previously seen, and what we know to be the case for like the future of this Loki character, there is also a problem of this Loki has to be returned to that moment in 2012 and taken to Asgard, or else no one goes to Asgard, and then the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't happen.
Unless that is the Loki that is now killing people.
No, but a Loki. So in order for the events of Endgame to happen, which would send the Tesseract back in time for this Loki to get this Tesseract, this Loki at some point has to be returned to that spot.
Yeah.
So within the rules that we have set up within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is why this is insane, you don't set this up. Because once you set this up, you have to abide by your own rules.
Exactly.
And there's no way that this can abide by its own rules, because it's nuts. Like, this is actually insane what is happening.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. And like I said, I was trying to explain it to you last night, where I was like, I love a first episode to set up specific questions. But this is just confusing. In WandaVision, for example, you were like, okay, why is Wanda there? Who is doing this? Is it her? Is it somebody else? And like, who's on the outside? There's like very clear things. You have a good sense of what's going on, but you don't have all the information. This is an example of where you don't have a clear sense of what's going on, and you don't have all the information, and so it just kind of feels like you're like, I don't.
And honestly, like, the plot of this is that Loki is being hired by the Time Variance Agency
to
hunt Loki. Spoilers. It is a spoiler chat.
Yeah.
So that he can then be killed?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like,
because Owen Wilson's character Mobius is literally like, well, you can never go back, right? And Loki's like, yeah, I can never go back. Loki comes to the understanding that he can never go back.
Well, and he also watches himself die.
But like, what is the purpose of this then?
Yeah, what's the point?
Also, like, what is I get that the other Loki is killing time variance agents, but like, what are they? Are they people?
Yeah,
are they in a timeline? They seem outside of a timeline. Does anything matter?
I don't know. Because
here's the question: if Loki, if they're protectors of the sacred timeline, then by them kidnapping Loki and pulling him out of the timeline into where they are, isn't their actions with him part of the sacred timeline, or are they all variants of the timeline, or do they exist outside the timeline? At which point they don't matter. So what?
Yeah, like they uphold the timeline, but they're not a part of it.
And this is why I say don't make it omnipresent, right? Like, make the time variance agency. Our goal is to stop people from traveling through time and destroying the Earth. Done, right? That is something that you can be like, okay, I get that. If you use, the Avengers were allowed to use time travel within the time variance agency's rules because it saved people.
Yeah.
You can't bring about the end of the Earth. Or the Avengers got a pass because Thanos wiped out half of the universe and that was against whatever protocol or whatever. But by making them omnipresent, it just puts the spin on the storytelling where they have to know what's going on, and when they don't, why?
Yeah.
Like what? Like what?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't make sense. And I think it's really hard to play with time travel in the middle of a series. Like, in the middle of things, because you have to make sure that everybody comes back to the point that they were at before, but they also can't know about this entire, like, however many episode series that happened to them in between those times, and like they never mention it, and so you have to justify all these things, and you have to write around it in your series, and like that is so incredibly difficult, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it work, if I'm being honest.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that, like, as this series goes on, it will be a little bit less exposition-y, and like things will happen.
Yeah, like not a lot. It's weird because it felt like such a packed first episode, but also felt like a kind of boring first episode because I don't know.
I wasn't bored, but the only reason I wasn't bored was because the performances are so strong.
Totally,
like Owen Wilson
totally.
is bringing it. Tom Hiddleston is amazing.
Yeah,
I loved I wish I knew his name. The guy, he's the Krill farmer from Star Wars. He was the intern guy.
Like front desk.
That was a really funny performance. We didn't really get much from the judge, but I feel like she's gonna have a lot. I like her.
She was in the trailer a bunch. So.
Yeah, and her relationship with Owen Wilson's with Mobius is really interesting. I like looking up at you line. That was cute.
Yeah.
Little work flirt. We all have our work flirts. Mine is my wife because we work together. But y'all who have offices have work flirts, don't you? So like the performances are so strong. And, like, the production design is incredible.
Yeah.
The sound design is incredible. The actual, like, functional time travel CGI stuff looks amazing.
Yeah.
Every time they blip around or they rewind someone, all of that stuff looks absolutely incredible. I did kind of giggle at the fact that all of the past moments that they watched were from the angle of the movies that we've seen.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, did the Time Variance Agency just have, like, the Steelbook Blu-ray set of the Infinity Saga?
Yeah.
They're just pulling... Because they were, like, they really went to the, like, trailer shot, the tracking shot of the Six Avengers, and I was like, this is... I know that that's the footage that they have, so they have to use it that way.
It's just funny.
But it just really made me giggle when they were like, and the camera zooms in because that's what the camera did.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, things where you just kind of like giggle to yourself about because you know that has to kind of be done that way. One thing that I think I'm gonna find very interesting to watch in this show is that this isn't the Loki that we've come to know. This is the 2012 Loki, and it was interesting watching Tom Hiddleston play him more arrogant than he becomes. Like, I think that Loki becomes a little bit more humble and a little just kinder over the years, and so it is kind of fun to watch Tom Hiddleston go back to that more sinister, more like angsty Loki. Yeah. Like, I am going to rule the world.
Burdened with glorious purpose.
Yeah. Which is fun because, like, you know, that's like a really fun arc. But the thing is that
we've already seen it.
Kind of seen it already, so I don't.
Well, he'll go in a different way. He'll become an entirely new character.
Or he'll become the evil Loki and kill people, and then I don't know what. I'm confused.
If that's like, how many variants are there? It seems like there's a lot of variants. This agency does not seem to be very good at its job. Also, none of the people who are variants that we see in this episode, other than evil Loki, seem to know that they're variants.
No.
Like, this agency just seems to be like, you did something wrong, and people are like, wait, what?
Yeah, nobody knows why they're there, and it's like, how are you supposed to uphold this ultimate timeline if you don't know that it exists? And so if you make a mistake unknowingly, you die?
Well, I think ultimately, and here's the thing. We know that the Doctor Strange movie is called The Multiverse of Madness. We know that the whole reason they cut off the variants is because it will create a multiverse. I'm willing to bet by the end of this show there is no Time Variance Agency anymore.
Yeah.
Even though we're getting a season 2 of this.
Of Loki?
Yeah, we know that there's going to be a season 2 of Loki.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, and so it's kind of weird because, like, either it's a lie, and the multiverse already exists, and the Time Variance Agency is trying to, like, keep the multiverse from running into each other so that there's no war, which is possible, or this agency has to go down. But there will be a multiverse in Doctor Strange. We already know that, and that comes out next year. So, at some point in the next year...
I thought there was already a multiverse, but it was just like woven together in one single like time stream.
No. So the multiverses went to war. Basically, they stole the plot of Crisis on Infinite Earths. that like flashback sequence that was in like the Jetsons style was almost like a weird like Wish brand retelling of Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is kind of funny. But they took all the multiverses and they streamlined them into one timeline.
Yeah, but there are still multiverses woven together in a single time stream, right?
No. There is one stream now. Multiverses can't be in the same time stream.
So there is one universe.
Yes.
But people have already gone to other universes.
Who?
No, okay, that's the quantum realm. That doesn't
Quantum realm is within the time stream, yeah.
In the time stream. Doesn't Doctor Strange...
No, does not go to another does not go to another universe.
Okay.
Not yet, but here's the thing. Okay. Something bad is going to happen to the TVA. Or it's all a lie.
This is all not going to end well.
Or it's all a lie.
Yeah.
Which it might be. It might be Kang the Conqueror trying to...
Maybe because Loki is the god of mischief, evil Loki made the TVA to cause chaos and just randomly pull people out of the time stream to screw with it.
See, honestly, if that is the twist, that would make this all more interesting to me.
Yeah.
That's so much more interesting to me than three people who know time.
Beings. Yeah.
And like one of those three is probably Kang. Let's be honest. That Jetsons animation can't hide the fact that the middle one's probably Kang the Conqueror.
Alright. You would know better than I would.
Mr. Powers. That's his name, right? No, Majors. Jonathan Majors? He's so good. The guy I love from Lovecraft Country.
Oh, right. That we were talking about. Yeah.
Who might be the boxer in Creed 3. Who Creed fights in Creed 3. He is going to be Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man Quantumania. And because Kang the Conqueror... Okay, so, spoiler chats, let's talk about this. So, the weapon... You know how they go to the field in Oklahoma at the end of the episode? Uh-huh. And there's the weapon, and they're like, it's from the 3rd millennium? Okay. Kang the Conqueror is from the 31st century, which is in the 3rd millennium.
Okay.
Implying something about Kang the Conqueror. That guy in the hood, because they say Loki's the variant running around killing people, right? Mm-hmm. But then they don't show that that's Loki, so that might be Kang. Kang the Conqueror might be the one who destroys the TVA, which brings about the multiverse. Which would be awesome. Because Kang's dope. Kang Conqueror is an incredible villain. I'm so excited for him to be in the MCU.
Okay.
And introducing him here, and then having him create the multiverse, which leads to him being in... He could honestly be the next major villain, right?
Yeah.
The next big Avengers event could be a invasion from the future featuring Kang the Conqueror. Lead up to that with him being in Loki, then him being in Doctor Strange, him being the main villain of Quantumania, and then all the Avengers have to get together and fight him in like the big, thingamajig.
Yeah, that would make sense.
The thingamabobber.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think it'd be very funny if future Loki was just screwing with past Loki.
It'd be funny. I think that the show's gonna have more weight than that.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think the show.
I think so too, but I was like, well, that would be an interesting idea.
Ultimately, I like the show.
Yeah.
I just don't like the omnipresent thing. I find it boring.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's enough good in there, like the people that like I do want to know what they're doing with this, because right now I'm kind of like, what? So like I'm gonna keep watching and hopefully still keep enjoying it. I don't know right now, and that makes me nervous. Like with WandaVision and with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I was like, oh, I like this, and I know I like this a lot. Whereas this, I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this.
This one, I wish that we'd gotten 2 episodes up front.
Yeah.
I wish that we because I'm excited for next week. I'm excited to see what's next, because I'm hoping that the next episode sets up a show that I want to watch. Whereas right now, I don't want to watch 6 episodes of exposition.
Well, yeah, and
the show's also only 6 episodes. So they have to do a lot.
They have to do a lot. Yeah. The other thing as well is if you're someone who is not super versed in Marvel lore, if you click in and watch this episode, you will come back. And it's really interesting because I think WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, both first episodes, stand on their own.
I don't know about that.
Look, I think that there's
when we watched the WandaVision pilot and the second episode back to back, In our spoiler chat, if you go back and watch that spoiler chat, we say we're glad that they came out together because they set up a world together. In our spoiler chat,
came out together?
The first 2 episodes of WandaVision.
Oh.
We said in our spoiler chat that we were glad that they put out the 2 episodes because the first episode wasn't enough on its own.
Okay, if they had only put out the first 30-minute episode, then I'd be like, people are not going to come back for that. But they didn't. They put out 2. But I think that WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier did a much better job of hooking in people who are like all aspects of Marvel fans, not just like the diehard fans.
That's right.
Because Loki is very complicated.
It's heady.
Yeah. I don't think Loki is going to have the same numbers that the other 2 are.
I disagree. I think this is going to be their best show. I think
so?
Yeah, I think that this one is going to like be like a little fire that burns bright. I think that it's going to start a little slower because I think a lot of people are going to be confused. And then once they start
talking about it.
Online, they are. Go on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
Once they get past the, I feel like next episode they're going to start time traveling, and it's going to be exciting places and stuff. And what's going to happen is it's going to hook people in, and it's going to hook us in. I feel like once this show gets past this one room that a lot of this episode took place in, where they're just kind of talking.
Yeah.
And talking about stuff that we already know. Like, it was a lot of talking about stuff that we already have the information on, and that the audience is ahead of Loki on by a literal decade, right? Like, we have known Loki for a decade past where he is now.
Yeah.
And so I think that once we get past that room, I think the show's going to be really fun. The trailers all seem like there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of time travel shenanigans. There's an election at some point. Like, there's going to be some insanity.
Yeah.
And I think that that's going to hook a wider audience in more than, like, the nitty gritty exposition-y stuff that, like, I get into. Even though I didn't love the way they handled it here, I still was like very rapt with attention to try and figure out what their ideas about time travel were.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I don't think that the first episode, like, I think that people will stop after the first episode. I do not think other people are as harsh on individual episodes as you are. You are very keen to stop if you don't like something right away, whereas I think most television watchers, a lot of television watchers will give something a season, right? Like, I think a lot of people... A season?
Well, but like, yeah, Parks and Rec's first season is 6 episodes. It's bad. The first season of Parks and Rec is not good. That show is one of my favorite shows of all time because of the following 6 seasons, right? I think that television watchers are a little bit more lenient on letting things kind of grow than you are. And I think that you think that everyone is like, well, God, I didn't love the opening scene, so click.
Not the opening scene, the first hour... Like, here's the thing. If you have 6 episodes and you watch the first hour, you watch 1 episode, and you're like, I didn't understand what was going on, so, like, why would I come back next week? Like, I don't know. I think that there will be people who do not come back next week.
I don't think that's how people watch TV anymore. I think a lot of people won't watch this week. I think a lot of people will wait till there's 4 or 5 episodes out, but I think that by the end of... I think the finale will have great numbers.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I think it'll be a slow build. I think that this is going to be a show that needs a little bit more word of mouth for that reason. But I think that, like, if episodes 3, 4, 5 are really, really solid, you can binge 5 hours in a week easy for the finale.
Yeah.
So I think that by the end of the season, there will be a lot of people watching this.
We'll see.
And we'll be here. This is coming out on Thursday, but from now on, these will come out on Wednesday when the show drops. This was just with your 2-year anniversary on Twitch. It was just a tough week for us. So
yeah.
Scheduling wise, but. Yeah, is there anything else we should talk about?
No, I think we got it all.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to love this more than I did.
Yeah, me too.
But I still like it quite a bit, and I'm excited. It's weird, right? Because I'm like, now that the exposition's out of the way, I feel like I can enjoy the show more next week.
Yeah.
This show, I mean, and this just had to explain a lot, and I didn't love the explanation, but like
season 1 of The Witcher.
Yeah, but compressed.
Next week will be
if season 1 of The Witcher took place in an inn where they just talked through it all really quickly. Yeah.
To get to season 2. Yeah.
Do you like hurting people? Yes. Carol's answer. I enjoy it greatly. Cool. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you dislike this video, dislike it. Leave mean comments. The algorithm god is hungry. We must feed her. You can follow us over on Twitch. I'm over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly.
I'm over at twitch.tv/clarusdracarys.
And as always, my name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
Do something nerdy tonight, you dang nerds.
Bye.
Bye.